Welcome to That's My Biz, the Internet Business Showcase, where we bring exposure to products, services, and special causes of local businesses and organizations. Thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live from the BizLinks TV studio. Brought to you by Southeast Computers, repairs, upgrades, custom builds, and restorations. SoutheastComputersATL.com. Hi everyone, I'm Pamela Alexander and welcome to another episode of That's My Biz. As always, we enjoy bringing to you the wonderful businesses, nonprofits, and associations that we meet when we're out there networking. We want to remind you that you can catch this episode again right here at www.bizlinks.tv. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/bizlinkstv. Don't just go and watch, make sure you subscribe so that you can get the heads up when new episodes are released. Also, give us some comments and some thumbs up while you're out there. Don't forget our Facebook channel as well as facebook.com/bizlinkstv. Without further ado, I want to introduce to you our wonderful guest today, Miss Dr. Ed Womack. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate you joining us today. Now, to tell you a little bit about Dr. Womack, he is an urban leadership strategist, and his organization and company and business, he is the founder of Man Rise Up Movement, creating MENergy daily. I love that. We look forward to hearing so much more about that. He really provides helping businesses, helping men just get to a leadership point to really pursue their excellence in leadership and just really being an inspiration to those that he comes in contact with. So the first thing I want to really ask you is, why are you driven to help men specifically?
It was born out of a very selfish need. Where I felt that there were times prior that I didn't have the necessary support, the guidance, the mentorship that would have potentially alleviated some of the challenges that I had encountered on my journey.
Okay.
And so as a result of having survived some pretty traumatic things in my journey, it became evident that there was something the Creator had for me to do.
Okay.
He didn't let me out of here. I tried to voluntarily get out of here through an attempted suicide.
Okay.
I also tried to take myself out of here with a little bit of crack addiction for about 18 months. And coming out on the other side of that, there was a calling, a yearning, a stirring inside that said, okay, He didn't let you out of here. There must be a purpose. And so that purpose became to pour into men, which is a difficult task, but it's one that I believe I'm built for.
Okay. Well, and absolutely, and like you said, you have gone through it, so once you kind of get to that other side, being able to really kind of share that experience, hopefully helping some of those not to have to go through it.
Absolutely.
But definitely for those that have gone through it or that are trying to get through it, to be able to learn from you. And you're certainly inspiration, and we appreciate you sharing and being candid, because that's really what it takes. It takes people being candid to share with others, share their testimonies with others, and then their knowledge and experience. I always love to say you learn from others' mistakes because you won't live long enough to make them all yourself.
There you go.
And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing with helping men.
And it's really an art form because there's no real science behind it, because you can only get as much out of it as both parties are willing to put into it. And so understanding the psyche of men through intentional study and the whole dynamic of what we're stereotypically supposed to be as providers, strong, I got to do it all by myself, which was a mentality that I grew up with. That was the programming that was instilled in me coming from the west side of Detroit. It was like dog eat or be eaten. And so it was a matter of the survival of the fittest, which is so ridiculous, I've come to understand, because a lot of times what happens are men suffer in silence because they have to maintain this macho outside. And so it becomes difficult when there are circumstances that they have to deal with to actually do so.
Right.
There were studies done that show that men are 50% less likely to actually reach out for the help that they need. And so having been party to that, also being an individual that was caught up in that, what I realized from my own journey was that we tend to suppress. They call it, Stephen Covey in his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he calls it the suppression of tapes. And so when you don't have any outlet for that suppression, eventually And it can explode in any number of ways. And so what we try to do at Man Rise Up is to try and, as you say, be preventative and hopefully alleviate people from having to go through some of those traumatic situations. But on the occasion that we encounter someone that needs to be aided going through it, or on the outside of it, we're thoroughly equipped and have a network of individuals that are ready to step and come alongside of it.
That is fantastic. Now, you say that Man Rise Up is a movement.
Absolutely.
And use the term creating MENergy daily. Now, tell me what that is, MENergy. What is that?
Don't you love
I
it?
do love it.
It is, actually, I cannot take credit for the creation thereof. One of my colleagues, who is a part of my mastermind, the Men of Vision, is just a wordsmith. And so one day we were in the Power Networking Conference in Dallas, and we were just sitting chopping up. He's like, man, it sounds like what you're trying to create is MENergy. I'm like, oh man, can I have that?
Right.
So MENergy is similar to synergy, but it's specifically inclined to be directed at MENergy, at men coming together in their life, work, and play. To be able to combine the resources, combine the thoughts, the experiences, the understandings that vary depending on the programming that one was reared with, to actually exact a better change. And one of the things that I'm reminded of when I speak about MENergy is that there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go far or go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you're going to need a tribe. And so that also is kind of at the crux of the whole MENergy term. And the movement is one that is about the main pillar of the movement is collaboration versus competition. Because what we find as men is a lot of times where we're just left to our own devices. It's what we're normally accustomed to doing, and we even have at times justified, I'm just going to do it all by myself. And it's so ridiculous, so painful, and so unnecessary.
I'll tell you now, what I really love is, that you have something that's focusing on men, because there are tons and tons, and it's just limitless, of women's organizations, resources for women, a little bit to where I'm like, okay, y'all, we have enough now. Let's come together with some of these so that we're not so divided. So I love that there's something out there for men. And so tell me, what are the different ways that you work with them? Are you doing workshops? Is it networking? What are different types of avenues that you're doing to reach out to the men?
Awesome. So we've been given a number of opportunities, a number of expertise or skill sets to be able to do workshops, to be able to do webinars. We do virtual coaching because some people we know, or some men we know, are not able to come to us or us get to them. So we're literally trying with our younger generation because, they...
Yep, so that's it.
So we are very intentional about trying to meet our potential clients or prospects where they are. So we also have amazing events around the country. We have one coming up shortly at the end of April. And we also do community activism. So one of the things that we do every month is we participate in the community Compilation, which is held in downtown Atlanta at the Renaissance Park.
What is it? I've never heard of that. What is it?
Are you familiar with the Peachtree and Pine Shelter?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure I've driven by it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But Renaissance Park is right down the street from probably one of the most horrific shelters probably on the planet. It's like a city of... It's just dismal. It's just, I can't even really explain it. That's how bad it is. And it's so bad that the mayor is actually trying to condemn the building that it's housed in. But Renaissance Park is, and that's where we used to hold it, right across the street in the parking lot from there, and someone got shot. So they wouldn't let us, or wouldn't give us permits to continue doing the monthly feeding. So we moved it down the street to the park, which actually was a much nicer venue. We just did one this past Sunday. It was amazing. And we call it the Catering to the Homeless event. And what that does is it's not just a feeding. It's an opportunity for us to, on a lot of occasions, just listen. Because a lot of men and women, but men obviously being my focus, they just want to be heard. They want to know that somebody's willing to understand what's going on. And oftentimes there's a stigma that's associated with homeless people. And having been one of those myself at one time, I was really educated, and quite transparently, I was enlightened that all people that are in a position of homelessness are not bad people.
Right.
They just may have actually fallen on some bad times, bad luck, bad situations.
Right.
And so as I began to pour into or understand the importance of service, because service, in my opinion, is the rent that we pay to be on this planet. And so no matter how many things one has, it's not about success, it's about significance. And so that's what we do with our programming.
I love that. I want to say that one more time. You said it's not about success.
It's about being significant.
Significance. That's deep. That's deep. At our sessions, we enjoy on our episodes, opportunity to grow and to learn. So we always tell everyone to crack out that paper and to crack out those pens, or your tablets or phones, wherever you want to take notes. But to take notes like this, so that people can learn, one, about doing more service and participating and how you can give back. So we definitely love that. Now you talked about the collaboration as well. How do you collaborate with other men? As far as like I know one of your events that's coming up, and then you all have a fantastic MENergy tour that's going on. So and collaborating with those businessmen to help them with the cause that you're trying to reach.
So it's funny you asked that, Pam, because I also do a weekly radio show.
Okay.
It's called Man Rise Up Radio
every
Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, and people have asked me, well, Ed, why do you bring other people on your show that do the same thing that you do? I said, because I'm true to what my calling is, and that is collaboration versus competition.
That's right.
So during the community compilation, during just networking events, obviously my sites are looking for men, because you nailed it earlier when you were saying there's so many programs, so many different activities for women, and most of the time, when I go to a networking event, the population is like 80 to 90 to 10 or 20.
Yeah.
And so that was also a part of the encouragement, because it's like, I understand that what God has for me is for me. I'm not concerned with competitive. I mean, and I was an avid athlete where competition was key. But as I'm maturing, hopefully, I'm beginning to learn more and realize that really and truly, if we had a male organization on every single street corner, we'd still be short.
Wow.
And in the current condition of our society, one of the things I believe is the culprit for a lot of that is the absence of men.
Okay.
You take, for example, a household where you happen to have both parents in the home. When mom is dealing with the kids, it's one way, but when dad's dealing with the kids, it's a very different dynamic. Merely the presence of that male tends to calm things. It tends to bring about a very different level of order. And so that is part of what drives, the collaborations. So to answer your question more specifically, aside from the Men of Vision, any organization that is male-oriented, that is doing something positive, they're apt to be approached by Men Rise Up.
Okay. So you all get ready. And don't wait till Men Rise Up approaches you. Go ahead and reach out. And
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, please tell them how they can reach you.
So the easiest way to do so is www.manriseup.com. And that'll give you not only the opportunity to connect with us, but to also receive a free gift if you do so. So right now we're featuring the Ultimate Guide to Personal Development, which I actually am the author of. And so it's just a way to express sincerity, to offer that helping hand, and allow them to go take it away and read it on their own before they decide to come forward. And so, www.manriseup.com is the primary way, which is our website. I also have a Facebook page, which is Man Rise Up. I'm starting to turn up my Instagram and my Twitter game, because there's this population out there that's not big into Facebook, I learned. And so we're starting to step up our Twitter and our Instagram game, and you find us there at Womack Speaks and Man Rise Up as well.
Okay, fantastic. And speaking of that, because of this population out there now on Instagram specifically and Twitter, what are the age groups of the men that you work with?
We typically start like in junior high high all the way through 60, 70.
Okay.
And it's such a vast range because of the network. And we intentionally did that to be able to serve our up and coming leaders and instill and pour into them the level of excellence, the nurturing of relationships so that they can become comfortable in what they're doing. One example I love that I just came across this weekend was I encountered a young man that's 24 years old that is running for county commissioner of Clayton County. And I met him at a Hillary Clinton campaign. No, not these are purely encounters. Not saying that's who I'm endorsing. Don't want to get in trouble here on BizLinks TV. I'm certain. Well, yeah, let's not go there. But I met him, and it was so refreshing to hear a 24-year-old have such amazing tact about himself, such vision, such aspiration at 24 years old. He's a Morehouse graduate. He spent 2 years in the Navy, and now he's running for county commissioner of Clayton County at 24.
Wow.
That's more than some people have done their entire lives.
That's true.
And it was just such, because oftentimes, I mean, when we turn on the TV, I've stopped watching news. I just have a ticker that I select what I want to watch because it's typically the same thing over and over, just in a different spot. But I know and I nurture the fact that there are positive individuals out there, both young and old. And so that was part of the reason that we designed Man Rise Up movement as a spectrum, and to be able to have relationships across the board. So when we were out at Community Compilation, one of my younger up-and-coming artists, or authors, I'm sorry, not artists, was out there with me. I'm like, man, you two need to connect. So it gives that opportunity to not only be a connector, but also be a mentor and be able to start preparing them to have the torch handed off to them.
Okay. So with that, what are some of the gratifying experiences that you have had related to being a mentor?
The biggest gratification for me is when you see the light come on. Regardless of how much work was involved, how much work is yet to be done. Because there's incremental steps where you see that light come on. And that for me is the greatest reward. There's no monetary or material thing that can compare to that. I'm a trainer by trade, so that's part of why I do it and love it. But as a mentor, understanding first of all that it's not one-sided. It's the development of relationships. It's being able to establish a trust, especially with men. You have to establish a trust and credibility first before they will open up. As I began to study the dynamics of communication, I first started looking at it both from a male versus a female perspective to try and better myself in my interactions, both professionally and personally. And then when I was dealing with that, I began to obviously dig a little deeper into the psyche of the male. And we just are not communication is just not a part of our DNA. That's just not normal for us. And we'd rather just, I don't know how many times I've encountered a gentleman and say, hey, how's it going? You
there was a lot in that. There's a lot of words in that.
Yeah, right. I'm like, really, dude? And I've even been guilty of that on occasion, but now I've evolved myself and I try to instill in others that I come in contact with. It's like, you're not just good, it's not just a head nod. What's really going on? And of late, I've actually even gotten to a point where when someone asks me how am I doing, I'm like, I'm breathing, so everything after that's a bonus. And I really mean that because I know that it's only by grace and mercy that I'm even still here. And when you've been through a traumatic situation or some sort of setback in your life or a feeling of hopelessness, it tends to offer you a greater sense of appreciation.
Right. Now, you've been through a lot yourself. You've helped a lot of men go through a lot. I'm sure you hear lots of stories, and especially if you're working with people that are dealing with challenges, homelessness, and all of that. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you energized?
What keeps me energized is the network that I'm developing as well. Because as I'm developing my gift is what I call it, because it's nothing that I just went out and in my own brilliance decided was going to happen. I truly believe it was a divine calling and anointing. In fact, I do refer to it as a ministry. And one of the things that keeps me going is the continuous learning, the growth, the relationships that are evolving that I didn't have when I was younger, when I was going through the not so desirable portions of my journey. And so what keeps me going is actually being able to be of service, to be able to know that I'm making an impact that is significant. And we kind of skirted past that earlier where we were talking about the difference between success and significance. And a lot of us in society, we frame success as the car I drive, the money I make, the position I hold. Okay, I'll confess, I have been appealing, or those things have been appealing to me. But as I'm maturing and learning, it's like, but with all of those resources, are you doing anything that is significant? That leaves a mark, that makes an impression, that creates a legacy, that if you are not there, will anybody care? Right.
We always say we never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. So those material things, you can't take it with you.
Cannot take it
but
with
you know, what can you leave behind that's going to make a difference for others?
Now,
I'll tell you one thing that you all are doing, that you all are going to currently do and be leaving behind, because we know it's going to be awesome for those that attend, is going to be the Power Life Atlanta Conference that the MENergy Tour is putting on. We are excited about that coming up, and give you all the details. It's April 30th. It's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Cobb Galleria. You do not want to miss it. And they can go to MENavisionTour.com to get more details about it and get the links for the registering. It is free for you all to attend, so it's a big opportunity that you don't want to miss. But there's also opportunity for sponsors as well, because it's going to be some great connections that are going to be made. So please tell everyone more about it, kind of how it came about and what they can expect at the event.
Oh my goodness, Pam, this is like the biggest event for the MENergy, and I say it that way because when I started this year off on my radio show, to give you just some quick background, I wanted to start off with a pretty significant show. So I said, well, who could I have on as a guest? And I sought out Dr. George C. Frazier. And I was a little hesitant because anyone that knows who Dr. George C. Frazier is, he's a pretty significant person in the community, in networking, and conferences at large. I mean, he does an annual conference called the Power Networking Conference, which Forbes magazine has ranked the number 5 conference in the nation, not top 5 black conference, but number 5 conference, business conference in the nation. And so I'm like, will he dare be on my show? So I got him on my radio show, and during that radio show, it was amazing. So we accomplished the mission of starting the year off right. But during that time, one of the MENergy asked him a question about, well, if you're a small organization trying to do something with a conference, what suggestions would you give? And he responded, and like 2 or 3 minutes after the radio show, I get a phone call, and I'm like, okay, I just got off the show. Who is this calling me? And it was one of my brothers from MENergy. He said, man, Dr. Frazier wants you to call him. I'm like, for what? We just got off the phone. What do you want? He said, I would like to understand a little bit more about this conference, and if schedules permit, I'd like to support and participate. We couldn't have planned that.
I have chills as hearing the story.
I mean, we couldn't have planned it. And it's
Yeah.
now, but what has happened with it is not only do we have Dr. George C. Frazier, we also have Dr. Ruben West, who is Les Brown's #1 protege. He's my personal coach as well. So that helped. That was a little easier conversation to have, because that's my coach. We're like family. But to have Dr. George C. Frazier as well as Dr. Ruben West, we've got the MENergy that are going to be participating. We've got a cast of amazing ladies from the metropolitan Atlanta area that are going to pour into 5 key areas of, first of all, mastering the mindset of an entrepreneur, which a lot of people may be struggling with. Perhaps someone sitting out there today, you may not really think that you have what it takes to be that business owner or entrepreneur. We guarantee you'll walk away on April 30th with clarity, with tools, with strategies, and even a network of people to help you. We're also going to look at how do you develop a coach or find a coach and a mentor to help you along that process. what are some of the things that you need to do with regard to branding and marketing, hence the reason we're so excited that we've got BizLinks TV as a sponsor on board. We also are going to discuss how to become a best-selling author, which we have actually produced. As far as MENergy, we've produced 14 bestsellers, Amazon bestsellers, in the last 13 months.
Wow.
So you'll be getting the opportunity, and we even have an actual, and the deadline is this Friday, but we actually have a collaborative book that we're doing for the conference that's called The Power of Collaboration.
I love it.
And so it is going to also allow someone to be an author that may not be one already. And Dr. George Fraser has just agreed to write the foreword. Dr. West is going to write the afterword. And the beauty of that is being in that company or in that book will afford whoever's included to have the borrowed credibility
absolutely
and exposure, and also have all the other players in that book also be talking about them.
That's right.
So it's again that power of collaboration versus competition,
Yes.
and we're just really excited.
Well, I love it, and didn't even know all of those specifics yet, and I'm excited because that is definitely one thing we've always said too. Collaboration is better than competition. We believe in it as well, and being able to come together. We are excited to be on board, so you'll be able to get a quick interview with BizLinks TV Network and get some exposure for your business. Wonderful event. This is an all-day event, and it is going to be jam-packed, so you all make sure you get your rest the night before.
Absolutely.
And before I would leave, because we're going to have other speakers from the MENergy and from the Power Life Atlanta conference coming on the network prior to the event, so you'll get a chance to really meet even more of those speakers and get some insights. But what I want you to tell me is, who are the actual men of vision?
The actual men of vision are Coach Terrence Lethbridge out of Chicago, Illinois. Johnny Magnificent Mac out of Dallas, Texas. We've got John McClung Jr. out of La Cruces, New Mexico. And Edward C. Williams right here out of the ATL.
That's right.
Those are
and
the
yourself, of course.
And myself, of course. Dr. Ed Womack. Absolutely.
Fantastic. We are excited about it. Everyone, want to make sure that you check out the conference. Make sure you go to MENvisionTour.com so that you can get yourself registered. The seats are going to go. We promise you it is going to be a full house, so make sure that you reserve your seat now. Again, it is on April 30th from 8 to 5 p.m. at the Cobb Galleria, so you don't want to miss it. Dr. Ed Womack, we appreciate you coming out today and joining us.
Absolutely.
And before we leave, again, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you.
The best way is www.manriseup.com.
Fantastic. You all make sure you all reach out to him. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Pam.
I appreciate that. Everyone, this is Pamela Alexander with BizLinks TV Network, and we are having a wonderful time sharing with you the businesses like we always say we love to do. Again, watch this episode. Please share it with others. Let them know about Dr. Womack and what he's doing, and then also make sure that you let them know about the MENergy conference, the Power Life Atlanta conference that is coming up, that's brought to you by the MENergy, and make sure that you don't miss that. Check us out at www.bizlinks.tv. Also check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/bizlinkstv. Remember, subscribe. Make sure you give us some thumbs up and some comments for our guests as well. And then go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/bizlinkstv, where we are exposing your business to the world.
10 years to learn the business. 10 years to make a name. 1 year on your own. It takes time to build a small business, but only 60 days to transform it with email marketing from Constant Contact. Sign up with Constant Contact and get 60 days of free email marketing to generate referrals, connect with clients, and build the business you've always wanted. Constant Contact. Start your 60-day free trial today.
Thank you for joining us. Today's show can be viewed on demand on our website at www.bizlinks.tv. If you are interested in having your products, services, or special cause showcased on our program, submit an inquiry to That's My Biz at bizlinks.tv. In addition, information on advertising and hosting your own show can be found on our website at bizlinks.tv.